How can society strike a balance between freedom of speech and the prevention of online hate speech and misinformation? Loaded question. I know. Hello.
I think from 2020 up to even now, we saw the government try and take a strong stance on what they consider hate speech. And I think hate speech, for the most part, is subjective. How it affects you is subjective because it's an individual assessment. I am always less censorship. I think the government tried, succeeded, and failed all in one to limit the discussion and the blowback on masks, COVID, and multiple other stories over the past few years, especially. You can see from data released by social media companies that they were working with to also enforce what they wanted to be said and what they didn't want to be said. And a lot of things around vaccines and masks, just for an example, were labeled as hateful and dangerous, and then a year or two later come out in scientific studies that they were wrong, and so they were silencing people and canceling people, labeling it as hate speech for years, only to come out and be wrong. I'm against the government having control over most things. A lot of things in the US government especially move very slow. A president has only so much control. There's all these different systems that are designed hundreds of years ago based on what was going on in Britain at the time. And these rules are very hard to change. And once things are added or taken away in the government, again, very hard to manipulate. But when they have the power, they can manipulate them in any which way they want. These guidelines that are set by the government are based on the people that are in the government. As we've seen throughout time, it's Republican, Democrat going back and forth every 4 or 8 years. And I don't want rules set by people that aren't going to be there forever. I would rather leave as much freedom and opportunity to the American people, and they will decide what is best. And the things that aren't best will die out and be crushed by the overwhelming majority.
That's a good point. I actually have a follow-up question to that. So I agree with you. I think I think the less censoring there is, the better. Do you think that if the majority of our news outlets was more freelance writers, like as opposed to like your big brand names of newspapers, news stations, do you think it would be, do you think the public would accept public news and more if the writers and the people publicizing these things were all more independent as opposed to being affiliated with a certain station that has clear views in one direction and pushes, their personal agenda?
CNN is dying, Fox News is dying, Twitter, Substack, Rumble, all these other places that have independent writers are thriving and continue to thrive because people realize, especially over the past few years, that everything coming out of these big media sources is scripted, and the people that saying it either are full of crap or they're getting paid to not voice their opinion and say whatever the bull crap that they're being scripted to say. And the American public, for the most part, disagrees with it, and it's showing out in the numbers because less viewership, and the viewership is going to the individual people like Tucker Carlson, other two people that left that are on breaking points, Sagar and Crystal, that both left CNN and Fox News because they don't believe what the corporation is telling them to say, and so they leave. And it shows in the viewership that all these major news sources are dying out, and podcasts are growing at a crazy rate because people want truth, and the truth isn't coming through these big corporations because they have to worry about backlash, and individual creators don't have to worry about backlash because if people like them, they'll follow them. If not, they will unfollow them, block them. That's fine. People give people the options. The places like North Korea, Russia, China that have government controlled news agencies control the people and control the information that the people get. Welcome to America. We're not with that shit.